Reese, thank you very much. Back here in Brooklyn, this is the 2018 New York Life ACC Tournament. Welcome to Champ Week, presented by Principal. We've got North Carolina, the 6th seed of the ACC, and we've got Miami, the 3 seed. The Hurricanes making their first appearance here this week. This is the 2018 New York Life ACC Tournament in front of a packed house here at the Barclays Center. The top seeds thus far have all advanced to the semifinals. Virginia and Clemson winning this afternoon, and the Duke Blue Devils just tonight defeating Notre Dame 88-70. A big shooting night for Grayson Allen. He finished with 23, but an even bigger night for Marvin Bagley III. His 4th 30-15 game on the season, 33 points, 17 rebounds for the freshman. He was extraordinary. And Duke beats Notre Dame 88-70, so they'll play the winner of this one. Again, everybody, it's loud, it's fun here. Dan Schulman, Jay Billis, and if this game is anything like the game 9 days ago between Miami and North Carolina, it's going to be a good one.
Well, the last time these two teams played, there was an awful lot of offense. Both teams shot over 54%. It was a little bit of defense free, but North Carolina found itself down 16 points, but made a furious comeback, and Joel Berry made a fantastic shot to tie the game, but Jaquan Newton came down. He's only hit 4 threes on the season. That was his 5th, and Miami was able to escape with a 91-88 victory in the Smith Center. They shot 54% from the field, but so did North Carolina, 54%, and lost. And Carolina's got to do a better job of guarding ball screens in this game than they did in that one, because they got strung out and hit pretty hard off their ball screen defense.
Both of these teams finished 11-7 in the league, but because of tiebreakers, 4 teams had the same record. Miami got the 3 seed, Carolina the 6 seed. Carolina with a win over Syracuse in the 2nd round last night to advance into the quarterfinals here tonight. Well, they will try to avenge last week's defeat to the Hurricanes and advance onto the semis, where the Duke Blue Devils await. Miami has won 4 in a row, all by 3 or fewer points. And for North Carolina, Roy Williams has had tremendous success, of course, for the Hall of Famer, regular season conference tournament, and 3 NCAA championships as well. Meanwhile, Miami coach Jim Larrañaga is with Allison.
Coach Larrañaga, when you played UNC 9 days ago, you won at the buzzer on their senior night. So what did you tell your team about the type of intensity they should expect from the Tar Heels?
Well, Carolina's a great team. They played great last night. This is going to be a great game.
What do you feel like will be the key in the rematch?
We've got to get back defensively. They're the fastest team in the country.
Coach Allen, thanks.
Roy Williams wants his team to run, baby, run whenever they can. There's no such thing as a speed limit if you play for Old Roy. Jim Larrañaga well aware from that. We'll see if it's a track meet here tonight. And keep an eye on this guy, Chris Lykes, number 2. He wants everybody to get over the fact and stop saying, hey, he's only 5'7". He is a terrific player. No matter what his height might be, Chris Lykes is a terrific player who really makes the engine go for the Hurricanes.
Well, if you're good enough, you are big enough, and Chris Lykes is good enough. He is an outstanding player. But you're struck by, at his size, he can get up underneath you and really pressure the ball. And he's absolutely fearless offensively.
Kenny Williams slips, got rid of the ball before he traveled. Luke May, first team All-ACC, misses the 3. And here comes Jaquan Newton. It was Newton who made that big shot, that 35-footer 9 days ago in Chapel Hill to seal the win for Miami. Lonnie Walker the 4th, too strong on the 3.
And Theo Pinson down with the rebound. All 5 guys on the floor for North Carolina can start the break when they get a rebound. They can bust out. They don't have to outlet it. They can take it themselves.
Lykes goes right by Berry. Tried to reverse it. Couldn't lay it in with the left hand. And now numbers for Carolina.
It's Carolina's pace right now.
Great hustle on the defensive end by DeJuan Huell to knock it out of bounds. Roy Williams, part of the Hall of Fame class 2007.
He's wearing a tearaway sport coat tonight.
Roy got upset during last night's game against Syracuse and tried to rip his suit jacket in half, but he started from the top up near the collar. He couldn't quite get it done. I don't think he's going to tear this one in half. He likes this one. This is one of his special ones. Loose ball to May, off to Johnson, and a foul is called on Lykes to prevent an easy bucket.
Well, a smart foul by Chris Likes. I think that's a rule change that college basketball needs. We've got to have breakaway fouls because you can foul here and take away a bucket. And really those are as intentional as anything. Not making a play on the ball, just grabbing somebody.
So you'd like 2 in the ball on a play like that?
What's that?
You'd like two shots and the ball on a play like that?
Well, you could call that now if you want to. I mean, there's.
But like if it's a clear path kind of thing, like the NBA
exactly.
has?
That's what I like, is a clear path foul like the NBA has. I think it's a smart way to go.
A lot of experience for this Carolina team. Barry, a senior. Pinson, a senior. And Cam Johnson, a 4th-year player. He's a redshirt junior, the transfer from Pitt, and then a lot of experience, of course, for May and Kenny Williams as well. That's Johnson, way too strong on the jump hook.
And neither team able to get anything to go in the first 2 minutes. It's like a soccer game. One of the keys for North Carolina is guarding the 3-point line. The last time these 2 teams played 9 days ago, Miami 11 of 22 from 3-point range. And when North Carolina's lost games, it's because they've given up double-digit threes to their opponents.
Shot clock at 4.
Got a switch.
Newton over May. And tap back out, a fresh possession. Boy, Walker with a 25-footer right at the start of a fresh 30. And an unforced error committed by the Tar Heels.
Both teams right now sloppy. North Carolina trying to push the tempo there. Every once in a while you're going to see those kind of turnovers from North Carolina where they're trying to get the ball up court. They may throw it away, but that shot by Lonnie Walker, just a freshman who's been terrific in ACC play. That might as well have been a turnover.
Projected if he comes out as a first-round pick, possibly a lottery pick.
One thing that Lonnie Walker needs to do more of, he needs to be a better rebounder because he's long and athletic, but doesn't rebound yet to his length and athleticism. Everything else he does, though.
Everything on the perimeter right now for Miami as the shot clock runs down again. Likes deep in the corner, rejected by Barry, and that'll go as a shot clock violation.
Well, North Carolina's defense much better in this game than it was 9 days ago in Chapel Hill against Miami. Really good recovery by Joel Barry, stopping the ball from Anthony Lawrence and then recovering to block that shot by Chris Likes. Way too much dribbling by Miami and not enough ball movement.
May got a good screen from Johnson, left it short, followed it up, missed again, Miami ball.
Well, you can't fault the effort, just not finishing right now.
You ever been at a game where there was no score?
Yes, it was
the media timeout.
It was a soccer game.
Well, we won't have to worry about that tonight, and you can hear the cheer from the crowd. I think even the impartial fans are glad to see the ball go through the basket.
For a while, it was 0-0.
You were worried about penalty kick sellers having to settle this thing. May, what a season he had. First team all ACC, most improved player in the league as well. Baseline jumper, no.
Just a tough shot by Luke May.
Newton elevates over Barry. And May touched it up on the rim, so that basket's going to count.
And it was coming off, just couldn't keep his fingertips off of it.
So Carolina scoreless 4 minutes in. Miami up 4-0.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by New York Life. We know that life doesn't fit into any one plan. So start a plan that flexes with yours. And Courtyard, Fairfield, 4 Points, and Spring Hill Suites. We live by the golden rule.
Talked to the guys about how to rip a jacket in half, and I did not do it properly. I started around the collar where it's folded over so the material is twice as strong. If you really want to rip a jacket in half, start at the back at the bottom where it's already split.
Well, he won't make that mistake again. But again, Jay, this is one of his big time jackets. That's a special occasion jacket. He's not ripping that baby tonight.
Well, he's a little superstitious. So actually, when if you happen to lose a game, that jacket's taken out of circulation.
And guys, the reason he was so fired up was who else? Theo Pinson, who's been known to get his coach riled up now. And then what happened was he came up with an offensive rebound and he shot the ball immediately. And that point in the game, they had talked about over and over not taking those quick shots and taking some more time off the clock. But he went right back up with it after coach had just talked to him about it. And that's what almost cost him the jacket.
Three-time national champion and the defending national champs, won it last year in addition 2005, 2009. A couple of subs into the game for Miami, including a sharpshooter, DJ Vasiljevic, sophomore from Melbourne, Australia. That's him with the ball right now. He's made 6 of 8 threes his last 2 games.
And Sam Wardenberg can also shoot the ball from deep, so they can really spread the floor.
Vasiljevic gets an early look and buries it from the corner.
Well, he just spotted up in the corner. A refusal off the ball screen on one side, looking opposite. Boy, Joel Berry has not been able to get anything to go of late. 2 of his last 18 from 3, and North Carolina still looking at a goose egg. I don't think I've ever seen Carolina get off to this slow a start.
Vasiljevic is off to a red-hot start, and it's 10-0 Miami 5 minutes in.
Carolina's got to figure out a way to get something going toward the basket. You don't want to keep shooting jump shots when you can't get anything to go. Otherwise, you mire yourself in it and makes it a lot more difficult to get offensive rebounds.
Williams will try a 3. Not there. Walker pushing it.
And Miami's tipped a few back out. That's usually the province of North Carolina to tip it back out and get an offensive rebound, usually off a missed free throw.
Vasiljevic quickly with 2 threes since coming into the game. Newton drives it and finishes.
Boy, just off the ball screen, kicking it back out to the lift guy. And when Joel Berry closed out, Newton just went right around him. We got wholesale substitutions waiting to come in.
Roy Williams has seen enough. 6 minutes in, the starters haven't scored, and they're all coming out at the next whistle.
I'm not sure that coach's going to make it.
Not there for Johnson. This is unbelievable. We have seen Roy Williams on occasion, when he's unhappy, take everybody out of the game, and he's going to do it right now. 6 minutes and 26 seconds of scoreless basketball for one of the best offensive teams in the nation.
Just a really odd beginning for North Carolina, one that you'd have to go back in the record books to find a time where North Carolina started the game in the first 7 minutes and didn't score.
So Seventh Woods, Brandon Robinson, Andrew Platek, Garrison Brooks, and Sterling Manley in off the bench.
Carolina with a more traditional 2 big guy lineup.
Brooks, no.
See, right now I think Miami's got to go into some ball screens. Make these big guys guard out in the perimeter.
Both freshmen, Manley and Brooks. Off the glass and good. Tough shot for Ebuka Izundu, and it's a 2-touchdown lead for Miami. That one's going to count. And they're finally on the board.
That's something to go in transition. Seventh Woods, who has not scored much since he came back from injury. He might have a basket, maybe 2. And oddly enough, winds up getting the first score for North Carolina. Geez, took over 7 minutes for Carolina to get a basket.
Second foul on Izundu.
Well, Izundu played very well in Chapel Hill. In fact, he's made 18 of his last 22 field goals. He had 12 points and 5 boards at the Smith Center, but he also played really well at Notre Dame, where he got his first start. It was 14 points, 8 rebounds.
Buell back into the game for him. There's a rejection by Brooks.
Boy, Brooks is a good defender.
Look at this pass and finish. Woods finds Manley, and Carolina with a couple of consecutive buckets.
How about that? Roy Williams puts his subs in, and all of a sudden they start making something happen. The great block by Garrison Brooks, getting out to defend against Vasiljevic. And Sterling Manley, that's really been the biggest issue in learning how to play Carolina's way, is for Manley to run the floor. It's not a natural thing for him, and he's worked so hard. So to see him run the floor has got to make Roy Williams feel good.
Vasiljevic with an air ball from the baseline. Back comes Carolina. The starters have turned into cheerleaders for the Tar Heels right now. The bench trying to get them back in it.
Well, then when the starters come back in, they'll have a little more edge to them. Great trap.
Walker the steal. Almost an incredible finish by Lonnie Walker.
Lonnie Walker is so athletic. He's been their top scorer in ACC play, averaging about 14 a game.
Platek, a good look at a three. I liked what you said about Walker last week. He's the only player in college basketball who can discourage a shot with his hair.
That's quite some salad he's got up top, isn't it?
In a strong salad year on the college basketball landscape.
And Lonnie Walker's hair has nicknames. I think the pineapple is his favorite. Great rebound.
And an equally great block. Manley making his presence felt. Robinson between the legs. And Woods will draw the foul. That'll be a block on Walker. The pineapple hits the deck. Signs of life from Carolina, but they're still down 9. Second round action continues at the SEC men's basketball tournament. Continues on the SEC network tonight. South Carolina and Arkansas just underway. The winner to take on Florida tomorrow night. A 1-point quarterfinal, a 2-point quarterfinal, and a 3-point game in the 3 completed games thus far. As we take a look at the weekend menu, brought to you by Buffalo Wild Wings. The Big 12 championship Saturday here on ESPN, right in front of our ACC tournament championship Saturday night, and then Sunday afternoon the SEC championship at 1 o'clock Eastern.
But Carolina turned the ball over, and DeJuan Huell had a layup and almost wound up charging into Williams on the other end and couldn't get the play to go. But North Carolina not very sharp at all.
Allison Williams with a report on the Hurricanes.
Don't play the score, play the game. That was Coach Larranaga's message to his team during the timeout. He said, right now you're getting too hurried, you're rushing through things, and that ends up in us turning the ball over or getting blocked. He said you have to control yourself and play cool, calm, and collective.
Meanwhile, the starters back in for North Carolina. Pinson's been playing at an extremely high level in recent weeks.
Yeah, his last 7 games, he's averaging over 16 points, 7 rebounds, 7 assists, and he shot 58% from the field during that period. Theo Pinson's playing as well as any player in the league.
Wow. Vasiljevic forcing one up from the corner. And it's going to be out of bounds to Miami with 1 on the shot clock.
I'm really surprised that Cameron Johnson didn't come up with that ball. It's like he wasn't watching it, just looking at his man. Now, Pinson's got to put pressure on this pass because you know they're just going to try to lob it up.
Huell gets it off and scores it.
I'm not sure that got off.
And one of the officials right away, Ron Gruber, wants to have a look at it. Looks like he did.
Got it off.
Yep. Boy, that's got to drive Roy Williams crazy. Although Huell made a very tough shot and May was right there, but just a really good play by Huell. Basket clearly good, and it's 16-7 to Miami. You mentioned the balance on this Miami team. They don't have a single scorer in the top 25 in the ACC this year. They don't have anybody averaging 12 points per game, but they've got 6 players at least 8.5 points per game.
Well, you're not going to find many teams that are going to the NCAA tournament that the leading scorer doesn't even average 12 a game.
Williams knocks down a 3. Kenny Williams shooting 41% from beyond the arc on the season.
Well, Kenny Williams is North Carolina's best defender. Had 17 points against Syracuse, and that was his 63rd 3 on the season. This is a guy that only made 1 3 his freshman year. I still can't get over that.
Dealt with some injuries last year. Hewell fading away over May, and Williams comes down low to get the rebound.
Well, North Carolina just 2 possessions down, as poorly as they've played.
16-12 after Miami started the game leading 14-0. Carolina was scoreless for the first 7 minutes and 9 seconds.
This 2-3 set, they call it chin, that Miami's running right now, and I really think they've got to get North Carolina in as many ball screen situations as they can. You know, spread the floor. Now here it is at a high ball screen.
Hewell driving on May, knocked away. Still Miami ball, 4 to shoot.
A really nice job defensively by Theo Pinson to come in and help. I think with a spread floor, Miami's going to have a lot of good opportunities. They really did a good job the first time these two teams played in Chapel Hill of setting that high ball screen, making May come out and play.
Likes will try to create. Long floater, too strong. And Pinson can do this. Grab a rebound and try to take it coast to coast. Knocked out of bounds.
Really anybody with this lineup that grabs the ball on a rebound can start the break. You've seen Luke May do it. He grabs a defensive rebound. He can bust out. You don't have to just outlet it to a point guard to get going.
Mason, you got a team in Carolina. They're ranked 9th in the country, and they're the 6th seed in their own league. Now there's some tiebreakers in there, obviously, but 23-9, 11-7 in the ACC in a year after a national championship where they lost some really, really good players. And a lot of people wondered how good this team might be this year.
Well, they've had a crazy number of top 50 wins. You know, that quad 1 stuff, they must have 10 quad 1 wins. It's ridiculous.
Second most in the country, behind only Kansas, something the committee is looking at.
You know, typical of the sort of the NCAA committee process. You know, just when everybody's used to it, they change it.
And it could change again next year. Who knows? Likes knocks down the jumper. 6-point lead, Hurricanes. May muscles it up and in over Hewell.
You can't let a good player just set up right in front of the rim. I mean, Luke May had 2 feet in the paint. He was inside the charge circle and posted up Dewan Hewell.
First bucket for May, averaging better than 17 a game this year. Walker, nice look. Hewell can't finish it. May down with a rebound.
Well, you have to go up stronger. That's something that Dewan Hewell's got to finish.
Pinson behind the back and has it knocked out of bounds.
Well, North Carolina got off to about as slow a start as you can possibly imagine. But behind Kenny Williams knocking down an open 3 and some good work by Joel Berry in transition, North Carolina has cut this lead to 4. It has not been a stellar scoring game, but Luke May with 2 feet in the paint and an easy bucket.
Back in Brooklyn, let's take a look at a performance above, brought to you by Jersey Mike's.
Well, at a time when North Carolina can't buy a bucket, Miami's transition defense has been really poor. 4 guys back. It's a 2-on-4 essentially, and Joel Berry able to get all the way to the rim for an easy layup, and then again in transition, just not even a semi-break or secondary break. Luke May able to get 2 feet in the paint and just post up Dewan Hewell. Right now, North Carolina has 10 of its 14 points in the paint. They are 1 of 9 from 3-point range.
Let's take a look at who's flipping the switch. Brought to you by Boost Mobile, and Luke May, a guy who came in and played behind the likes, among others, of Bryce Johnson, Kennedy Meeks, Isaiah Hicks, had to wait his turn. Next year, of course, hit that huge shot over Kentucky to send Carolina to the Final Four. Stepped into the starting lineup this year and immediately became one of the best players, not only in the conference, but one of the best players in the country this season.
I'm not sure anybody's improved more than Luke May. And he does it in a really interesting way. I mean, he's an excellent shooter from the perimeter, shoots 46% from 3. Boy, that last possession, that curl cut that Theo Pinson made, this has been just paint points right now for North Carolina. And I think Miami's got to start returning the favor. Don't settle for jump shots. Get the ball into the paint. Newton, Walker, Likes, all those guys can drive it. So drive the ball, get it into the paint.
Big Rodney Miller is into the game now for Miami, the 7-footer, number 14. Miami led 14-0, but now the lead is all the way down to 2. The Hurricanes have gone really cold. Shot clock running down again. Lawrence, some contact. They play on, and here comes Carolina in transition.
Nice job angling out that drive by Anthony Lawrence. Now take a look at Theo Pinson here. He'll be on the left side of your screen as he's going to cut right around Kenny Williams. Just a little curl cut to the basket, and nobody stepped up. Now that's where Lonnie Walker's got to step up and make that more difficult. Lawrence was trailing off the curl, and Walker was not attached.
And for Miami, the foul was on Likes, his second. He goes to the bench, and Anthony Lawrence limped to the bench. And it looks like he's taking his shoe off right now, as they're going to have a look at his foot. Robinson, and Carolina, trailing 14-0 to start the game, now has the lead.
That's the 9th 3 of the season for Brandon Robinson. Now he's 9 of 20 on the year.
Some good work by the bench for the Tar Heels. They got the first couple of buckets when Roy Williams put them all in.
Well, they also tightened up the defense, and when the starters came back in, they came back with a renewed sense of purpose.
Newton with a nifty pull-up jumper from the elbow.
Over 1,000-point scorer in his career, over 300 assists, and Jaquan Newton coming off the bench for a good part of this season and managed and handled everything like a pro.
Wide open look for May. And Luke May now 1 for 8 on the night. And May's going to get a breather. Manley will come back in.
Usually these two teams, this would be the score after 8 minutes of play.
It was 91-88 9 days ago in Chapel Hill. Miami coming out on the winning end. Miller, big fella going to work. Wardenberg, tipped back in by Miller.
Thought that might have been basket interference. That ball looked like it was still up on the rim to me, but we're 30-40 feet away. That was on the rim.
Yeah. Barely, but did it?
Well, no, you're right. It was off.
I don't think so, actually. Yep.
Nope. That was a good call.
Great look by the gang in the truck. The winner to take on Duke in the second semifinal tomorrow night. The Blue Devils with an 88-70 win over Notre Dame earlier tonight. Number 1 seed Virginia, number 4 seed Clemson advanced with wins this afternoon. What an incredible year Virginia has had. Their only 2 losses against West Virginia and then at home to Virginia Tech. They went 17-1 in the ACC this year.
You know, it's got to be that they just don't look the part, because you go 17-1 in this league, you're legit.
But you know as well as I do, they don't care if people say they don't look the part.
I don't believe that.
You don't believe that? You do?
I do.
Really?
I think they want to be seen as the best team. I think they do care.
I don't mean the best team. I mean that some people don't like them because they play slowly or they don't respect their offense. I think they want to be respected for being great, but I don't think they care if people don't like the style of play that they have.
Yeah, you know, that may be true, but I think they want to be. I think they want to be seen as, like, nobody wants to win. You know, what do they have? 2 losses on the season?
Yes.
They have 2 losses on the season, and they're still doubters. And the truth is, I've been one of them, because I wasn't sure that early on the season they were really this good, but they are. Like, Virginia is right there for being the best team.
The last hill to climb, I guess, for this program under Tony Bennett is to get to the Final Four. They have not done that, but under him. But they're the ACC regular season champs for the 3rd time in 5 years.
Yeah, and look, they should have gotten to the Final Four that one year when Syracuse won. Was that 14 or something? I can't remember the years now, but when they had that big lead and Syracuse put on the Elite Eight. Syracuse put a big press on them, and that was the year Malcolm Brogdon was a senior. They should have been in the Final Four that year, and they were not only more than good enough. They could have won the whole thing that year. They should have been in the Final Four. They just kind of blew it in the second half.
But they're going to be a heck of a tough out this year, and they were really good, really strong. Vintage Virginia against Louisville in their win earlier today.
How is Carolina tied in this game?
That's what Jim Laranaga's wondering right now.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by Principal. Protect your family no matter what.
The Barclays Center in Brooklyn, the home of the ACC tournament this year. Coming up on the Audi halftime report. Did Duke's win over Notre Dame burst the Irish's bubble? We'll have to wait and see. And Middle Tennessee losing in Conference USA, is that going to hurt somebody who's hoping for an at-large? All right, what's Coach drawing here? What do we got?
Billis, everyone has to play to their strength, so I know Coach K told you to do one thing and one thing only. Pass the ball! Yeah, and this is JB currently in today's game yelling at the officials.
And I know that Shulman would appreciate it if you'd let the play-by-play guy get a word in edgewise every now and then, Billis.
Yeah, I worked with Reese Davis in the Carolina-Miami game, and I don't recall Reese taking a breath. Apparently, in his contract, he gets paid by the word. Great backdoor cut. Boy, that was really well set up out of the timeout, taking advantage of the overplay, lifting the defense, and Lonnie Walker, that was a spectacular backdoor cut.
And Miami goes back on top. If you're just joining us, Carolina didn't score for the first 7 minutes of the game. Roy Williams took all the starters out, and they climbed back into it after trailing 14-0. But as you can see, Roy Williams not happy. May and Barry, their two best players, are 2 for 14 in this game.
I'll tell you what, that last thing we saw with Jay Will and Seth Greenberg and Reese Davis, it really shows you it's a microcosm of Seth Greenberg's coaching career. You give him a half hour, he can diagram a good play.
Ewell double team, finishes anyway.
Strongest move of the game by DeJuan Ewell. He's the leading scorer for this Miami team.
Williams, man, that was 2 feet long.
He was closely guarded by Jaquan Newton. I don't know why he decided to pull the trigger on that. Good job by Seventh Woods defensively. And so much dribbling by Miami.
Crossover by Walker, left the jumper short.
Out of the timeout, Jim Larinaga called a great play here. Now watch on the left side of your screen. Just a great step and go against an excellent defender in Kenny Williams. And Lonnie Walker, nobody there on the weak side because they eliminated weak side help with the handoff in the middle. Boy, that hair is beautiful, isn't it? My jealousy knows no bounds.
You and I set the bar pretty low. Anthony Lawrence back into the game now for Miami. Andrew Platek has returned for Carolina. Johnson, too strong on the three, tipped back out, and a fresh possession for North Carolina. Platek will get another look.
Well, it's just jumper after jumper for North Carolina. You want to attack the rim. That's where they're having all their successes, in the paint.
Wardenberg cleans it up. Johnson crosses over and lays it in. He's got this year and next year with North Carolina. The transfer from Pitt, graduated in 3 years, redshirted his first year with an injury. So he's a grad transfer, but he's got not just 1 year to play at his new school. And when we speak of Pitt, need to mention, of course, for fans who haven't heard, Kevin Stallings no longer the head coach at Pittsburgh. The school parting ways with Coach Stallings after 2 years, and this year obviously a tremendously difficult season for the Panthers, going 0-18 in ACC play.
And if media reports are correct, Kevin Stallings is going to get a $9 million severance in order to leave the University of Pittsburgh.
And Pittsburgh, of course, so many great years. Started with Ben Howland and then Jamie Dixon. That was in the Big East they had tremendous success. They have found things a lot more difficult in the ACC, recruiting differences and playing against, they played against great programs in the Big East as well, obviously, but it just has not gone nearly as well since Pitt moved into the ACC.
Well, it's one of those be careful what you wish for situations that, if you're tired of going to the NCAA tournament every year and, knocking on the door of the Final Four, getting to an Elite Eight, and maybe that's not good enough for you. It's my opinion that the University of Pittsburgh kind of destabilized their own situation, made Jamie Dixon feel uncomfortable, and especially when they got into the ACC and he decided to leave and go to his alma mater, TCU, where he's turned TCU into an NCAA tournament quality program in just a couple of years. And look where Pittsburgh is now.
Walker knocks down the jumper. By the way, Anthony Lawrence left the game again, and this time, less than a minute to go in the half, he has gone to the locker room. We'll try to get you an update.
Carolina needs to attack the rim.
Instead, Barry will get a wide open look. Johnson couldn't handle it. May keeps it alive. All kinds of opportunities and rewarded with a trip to the line.
It has been difficult for the Tar Heels to knock down a perimeter shot, and it's been now multiple games for Joel Berry where he hasn't been able to knock anything down from the perimeter as well as he's played on the season. He did have 31 points against Miami, but the last couple games, I think coming into this one, he's 2 of 16 from 3. He's not been able to buy one from the perimeter today. But Carolina needs to continue to attack the paint. That's where they've had success, and Miami's not defended the paint very well at all.
Carolina is just 11 of 35. That's 31%, and just 2 of 15 from 3. But they're only down 3 to Miami. Quarterfinal action continuing from the Phillips 66 Big 12 Championship. Over on ESPN2, West Virginia and Baylor going at it right now with a winner to take on Texas Tech in the semifinals. Texas, a bubble team, fought hard but lost by 4 to the Red Raiders. Kansas with a win over Oklahoma State, and Kansas State in overtime over TCU. What a tough league that has been this year.
It is a tough league. The ACC is a tough league. The Big East is a tough league. There are a number of leagues that have been really difficult to find wins. I will tell you, though, that while we've been talking about a lot of different bubble teams, one team that we have not mentioned on the bubble that, it seems like they're in, which I just don't think they are, is Baylor. I think Baylor has to win the game they play today. They've got to beat West Virginia to feel like they're in.
No bonus yet. Carolina, that's just their 4th team foul, so they've still got 2 more to give with 18 seconds on the clock.
Well, you don't want to waste them, but you don't want to let Miami get an open shot here either. Good pass out of the trap.
Wardenberg, nice look. Walker, corner 3.
But he got hit. He got fouled. I don't know if they called it, but he got fouled.
I don't think they called it. All the Carolina fans are yelling.
That's a foul.
Yeah.
I think they did call it, and they're going to look and see whether they called it before. He got fouled. There is no question about it. And I think Ron Groover called it, and they're looking to see whether it was called before.
Well, if they're looking at the monitor, then they must have called it. If they didn't call it, there's nothing to look at. Yeah.
No, that's a foul.
Yeah. Boy, and what a turn of events that would be if Cameron Johnson's going to get 3 free throws out of this.
Now they called there's no question that the foul occurred before the clock went to 0. No question.
So they're going to put .4 back on the clock, and it'll be 3 free throws for Cameron Johnson.
Boy, that was not a smart foul. But Ron Groover right on top of it. There's no question that was a foul.
And Lonnie Walker, the guilty party, the freshman. Well, you talk about a potential momentum swing psychologically. Carolina, instead of going into the locker room trailing, might go in with the lead, and well, that'll make a coach pace, won't it?
As poorly as North Carolina played in this first half, to be tied, let alone ahead, is a remarkable happening. And what did Carolina shoot in that first half? Like 30%, if that?
Yeah, started 0 for 13. But they will take the lead to the locker room. How about that? Roy Williams might not be thrilled with how his team played, but they've got the lead. After that foul by Walker, Johnson takes advantage, and after being down 14 in the first 7 minutes, Carolina by 1. Miami coach Jim Larrañaga with Allison.
Coach Larrañaga, what's your reaction to the foul at the end of the half there?
It's just a part of the game. We've made some, I would say, ill-advised decisions, that being one of them. Let the guy shoot a three-quarter court shot. He's probably not making that. And if he does, well, you give him credit, but you give him free throws, that's too easy. But the most important thing for us is we're over-anxious. We're doing so many things out of character for us. We need to calm down and just execute at both ends.
How did that play into them getting back in this game after such a tremendous start?
Well, it's a long game. It's 40 minutes. No one wins at halftime. You don't win if you're ahead after 5 minutes or even after 39 minutes. You got to be ahead at the end of the game.
Coach L, thank you.
And they were ahead by 14 early. They're down by 1 now. The winner to get Duke tomorrow night in a semifinal here in New York. Time now for the halftime report. Let's send it to Reese Davis, Seth Greenberg, and Jay Williams. Welcome back to ESPN's Champ Week, presented by Principal. Well, it was an ugly start for North Carolina. Miami led this game 14-0. 7 minutes into the game. And Roy Williams said, you know what? The starting 5, they're just not getting it done. So you, and you get in there. And the bench came in, scored a couple of buckets. The starters came back in. Eventually, they got it going enough that improbably North Carolina's got the lead going to the second half, 32-31. This is the 2018 New York Life ACC tournament. The winner to take on Duke in a semifinal tomorrow night. Welcome back to Brooklyn. Let's be honest, it wasn't a masterpiece. But if you're Roy Williams, as unhappy as you were the first 7 minutes, you got to feel somewhat relieved. You got the lead going to the second half.
It wasn't a masterpiece.
It wasn't a masterpiece.
You know, one of the great things about basketball is you can adjust. So if you're not hitting perimeter shots, you can take the ball to the basket. If this were golf, if you can't find the fairway, you still got to tee off from the tee marker. But North Carolina, if they continue to attack the basket and get into the paint, they can get to the free throw line. And the free throw line is where they can have a big impact in the game. They were 8 of 10 in that first half. Miami only got there for 2 free throws, 1 of 2.
Moments ago, Allison Williams spoke with Roy Williams.
Coach Williams, what was the message you wanted to send when you benched all your starters?
Are you going to play tonight or tomorrow night? That's pretty simple. We had pretty good shots, but everybody looked like they were tight. And I said, my God, it's just a basketball game, and thought I'd give those other 5 guys a chance. But we need to attack the basket more. For us to be 2 for 15 and a half, silly.
How are you leading at the half when you went down 14-0 to start?
It's a 20-minute half, and then we get to play 20 more out.
Good luck in the next 20.
And a couple of experienced coaches. Jim Larrañaga saying to Allison at the beginning of halftime, Roy Williams saying to Allison at the end of halftime, it's a 40-minute game. And both coaches know that all too well.
And to start the second half, North Carolina trying to throw the ball inside, and a veteran guard takes a bad angle on a post feed. One dribble toward his bench, and he's got a layup for Luke May. Instead, North Carolina turns it over on the first possession of the second half just because they don't get the proper angle for a post feed.
For Miami, Sam Wardenberg starts the second half. Remember, Anthony Lawrence left with an ankle injury late in the first half. Likes somehow gets all the way to the glass and lays it in.
Well, I said it in the first half. If you're good enough, you're big enough. And that kid is good enough. Went to Gonzaga Prep High School and the DC area. Played with Bryant Crawford in the same backcourt of Wake Forest. It's a pretty good high school backcourt.
He had 18 points last week in the win at North Carolina. Cam Johnson answers with a 3, and Carolina up by 2.
If Miami continues to set these high ball screens, they've got to look to hit the roll guy. If not, they got Jaquan Newton lifting out of the corner if Theo Pinson tries to help out.
What a backdoor cut and acrobatic finish by Walker.
Ball is moving a little bit better in the second half for Miami. When they move the ball and don't dribble as much, they are much more effective. And again, Kenny Williams getting beat on a backdoor cut. Ball's up top, not enough pressure on Sam Wardenberg by Cameron Johnson, so he's able to just thread the needle with that backdoor cut.
Walker at the line, 15 points per game his last 15 games. Jay, a much bigger role for Walker after the injury to Bruce Brown. Both Walker and Wardenberg. Likes also getting more minutes. Miami's without a terrific player in Brown, who they hope will be back from a foot injury in time for the NCAA tournament. And right now we've got Joel Berry down on the court for North Carolina.
It's that left ankle, looks like. He went up for that shot, then went down and did not get back up. And he is, looks like he's in some pain there.
This is one of the tougher guys playing college basketball, and if he's still down.
Looks like it was his stepped right on his foot. But that is one tough kid. And I can't imagine that he's going to be out for very long. But the concern isn't just for this game, it's for the next one and the one after that.
And Berry going to walk into the tunnel and right to the Carolina locker room for a little bit more attention. As decorated a player pretty much as there is in college basketball. Most outstanding player at the ACC tournament 2 years ago. Most outstanding player at the Final Four last year. He's had a sensational 4 years in Chapel Hill.
Well, in both the 2016 and 2017 national title games, he scored over 20 points in 2 straight national title games. That's really a remarkable career for Joel Berry. He'll have his number hanging up in the Dean Dome rafters.
Cam Johnson puts Carolina back on top. Seventh Woods in at the point now for the injured Berry.
See, Dwan Huell's open on that roll off the pick and roll. And he's got to get the ball. You know, Luke May is staying with the ball, maybe even too long. What a terrible pass.
Likes with a steal. Knocked out of bounds, and Joel Berry has come back from the locker room, sitting on the end of the bench, but you can see he's still in some discomfort. So at least for the meantime, Carolina will have a go at it without their leader in Joel Berry. Allison's got more.
Well, guys, I saw him as he returned from the tunnel, and he kind of shook off the athletic trainer, said, "I'm good, Doug, I'm good." He wanted to look at him further, but he insists that he's all right.
All right, Allison, thank you. We'll keep an eye on him. Still sitting on the end of the bench right now.
Boy, Theo Pinson made a fantastic defensive play on that last possession off the spin by Dwan Huell. He just sat right on it and took the ball away.
Pinson spins, can't finish, thought he was fouled, and then a foul going against Carolina. It'll be on Woods.
Well, take a look at this defensive play by Theo Pinson. Anytime you spin, especially when you're a big guy, you're usually going to take yourself into trouble. And Theo Pinson read that perfectly and didn't just go over to try to stop the drive. He went over to steal the ball. But when he got it down the other end, I mean, that's where those are plays that Theo Pinson has to finish. And he didn't finish the play on the other end.
So Miami could once again take the lead as Likes brings him into the front court. Lawrence back into the game for Miami.
You know, people. You know, sometimes we say whoever has the ball last is going to win. This might be whoever doesn't have the ball will win.
Newton coast to coast, and we've got another injured Tar Heel. This time it's Johnson.
I'm not sure exactly what happened there. I just didn't see it. Not sure whether he had an ankle or. Oh no, he came down on top. Oh, jeez, that is. And he was holding his left hamstring there. Watch his right hand goes right by, just grabs his right leg.
That's Ebuka Izundu, 6'10", 235, who landed on top of Johnson.
I can't recall seeing anything quite like that before. That was scary.
So 2 key players for the Tar Heels suffering injuries, but as Johnson leaves, Joel Berry has returned. So that's great news if you're a Carolina fan, because you roll an ankle, as you know, Jay, it can be a minute, it can be a month. You don't know.
Well, we've seen Joel Berry with an ankle injury before, and he's played through it. He is one tough champion.
May looking to get untracked. Berry short on the 3. Comes free to Pinson, off to May, can't finish.
Boy, North Carolina is not finishing anything.
Likes turned it over. Now Brandon Robinson is grimacing and holding his right shoulder for Carolina as he comes into the front court. Pinson, Tar Heels on top. Robinson in some pain, but stays in the game. Johnson's in the locker room. Berry just returned. Well, the last thing any coach wants to see at this time of year is injuries.
It's like a noon pickup game.
Lawrence knocks down a 3. Miami back on top.
Boy, Anthony Lawrence coming into this game had made 5 of his last 22 from 3. Really offensively had not played very well at all. What a rebound. Boy, Brandon Robinson went high into the air for that one to grab it with 2 hands.
Berry curling around Williams, gets to the glass, lays it in.
And North Carolina has to do more of that. Just keep putting pressure on the rim. Then if you kick it out and you get an open 3 and it's in rhythm, you have much better chance to make it.
Berry's second field goal, Jay, he's 2 for 10. May is 1 for 11. Their 2 all-conference players are 3 for 21, and they're tied. Kind of remarkable. Newton was looking for a foul call, didn't get it. Lawrence for 3. Robinson to Williams at the other end. Williams gets a second shot at it.
Boy, that's North Carolina basketball. You know, you have a 3 knocked down in the corner and you take it down the other way and get a layup. I mean, they just beat Miami down the floor, and that's what North Carolina has to do. I mean, scoring has been difficult in this game for both teams.
Walker, a little push off, step back 3, not there. Bodies on the floor for both teams as Carolina looks for the lead again.
Good of the referees not to fall for that one, because Lonnie Walker.
Now we have an injured Miami player. Izundu might have taken a shot in the chin or the jaw on that drive by Berry.
Well, Berry coming back after that ankle injury, going hard to the basket and leading with that left elbow to make sure that shot didn't get blocked.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by Principal. Protect your family no matter what.
Roy Williams to midcourt with Jim Larinaga and the officials. The officials just had a look at that driving layup that we showed you from Joel Berry going into the timeout. And from what we understand, Berry has been assessed a flagrant 1 for leading with that left elbow.
Yeah, that's ridiculous. I mean, we are going way overboard on these, you know, this head thing. First of all, that's a foul because his arms came down, and they didn't call that either. But my goodness, I mean, if we're getting to the point where we're calling this nonsense, that is ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous.
The basket for Barry will count. They don't take the basket off the board, but it's a flagrant one, which means 2 free throws for Izundu, and then Miami ball.
You know, I get the whole thing about, you know, protecting the players and protecting, you know, we're worried about concussions and all that stuff, but we're not getting a bunch of concussions for guys going to the basket. You know, there's going to be some contact in this game, and the referees were watching and they didn't call a foul.
1 of 2. Don't forget to check out our alternate angle of tonight's game, the New York Life Above the Rim cam, streaming live on the ESPN app. So the 1 free throw after the flagrant one ties the game, 45-45, 13:40 to go, with a spot of the semifinals tomorrow night on the line. Barry, by the way, appearing none the worse for wear because of that ankle injury he suffered a couple of minutes ago. Going to step up the pressure at the defensive end, try to force some turnovers.
Yeah, just going into a little scramble. Anthony Lawrence right now guarding Luke May. May hasn't even been able to buy one.
Pinson is fouled. Let's go to Allison. She's got an update on Cam Johnson.
Yeah, he was evaluated by the team doctor and athletic trainers, but I'm told he is cleared to return. A right hip injury is what he suffered. He's back on the bench, though, and they say ready to get back in the game.
There was no foul called on that either, which is also remarkable. Isn't that interesting? I mean, that's a play on. Then a guy goes to the bucket in front of everybody, and then we got to go to the monitor, and they call it a flagrant foul. It's just, you know, we've passed into the twilight zone on some of these calls. It's ridiculous.
Do you like the ability, though, to go to the monitor if they suspect there might have been something flagrant? Or you don't think, do you think they shouldn't have gone to the monitor, or that the play wasn't worthy of it?
I thought that was a basketball play. Yeah. Look, you can go to the monitor during a timeout if you think that somebody took a swing at somebody. But, I mean, that's what that's for. It's not for, you know, a normal basketball play. There was contact near somebody's head. It just defies any logic, and we've gone way too far with this stuff. Way too far.
Tough to trap likes, isn't it? Little shovel pass underneath, and the lay-in for Izundu.
Such a quick jumper. Buka Izundu has really come a long way this season. I think the game against Notre Dame, where he started, had 14 points, eight rebounds, I believe. It was really, oh, what a nice play by Garrison Brooks. All made off the penetration by Luke May.
1 point lead, Carolina at the half. 2 point lead, Carolina right now, and a long way to go still. Izundu can't handle the pass, and it's turned over to the Tar Heels.
North Carolina has had its best success on a night where success has been hard to come by when they've gotten the ball into the paint. And it doesn't matter whether it's a guard or forward. When there's been dribble penetration, they get the ball into the paint, draw some defenders. One of the things about Miami is Miami's not been a great defensive team this year. They've really struggled defensively, especially over the last 5 games or so. They've given up 52% from the field last 5 games, about 74 points a game, and still they've been winning.
Vasiljevic misses wide right, and Pinson did not get back in bounds. He was out of bounds and didn't reestablish himself before he caught the ball, so that'll give it back to the Hurricanes. Both teams, plenty of mistakes here tonight.
Rule of thumb, when a guy goes out of bounds, don't throw it to him.
Well, if you're just joining us, North Carolina's got the lead, so you'd probably assume that Joel Berry or Luke May or both of them, these 2 first-team All-ACC performers, probably having pretty good nights, but that is far from the case here tonight. Yet Carolina still somehow has the lead.
Well, it's been in the paint for North Carolina. The Tar Heels have had some success, over 50%. When they take a shot outside the paint, it has been brutal. 4 of 27. And Theo Pinson has 10. Cameron Johnson has 11. Those are the only 2 players in this game that have reached double figures.
The winner of this one will play the Duke Blue Devils in a semifinal tomorrow night. Virginia and Clemson have also advanced.
North Carolina 3 of 19 from 3. And Miami not much better. They're 4 of 14. Just too much dribbling for Miami. And when they move the ball, they can get some good things.
Newton kicks to Walker, rises up for a 3, rebound Pinson.
A really good job by Garrison Brooks to run the floor. I thought Miami fouled him when he was trying to get position down low. They met him at the free throw line and just held him up, but then he got an angle on Azundu. Watch him just a rim run right down the middle of the floor, and he's just held up there twice really, and then got an angle on Azundu and got a really good pass from Joel Berry. That's the angle from which you want to feed the post, because you're leading the post guy right into his post move. And Garrison Brooks has come into this game. He's had some quality minutes for North Carolina.
6'9" freshman out of Lafayette, Alabama.
And really, one of the things Garrison Brooks does, maybe does the best, is he's an excellent position defender. He's rarely out of position.
Carolina trailed 14-0. My apologies, Jay, to start the game. They're now up 3. This is their largest lead of the night.
They're down 2 touchdowns to start.
It took them 7 minutes and 9 seconds to score in this game. Newton has to force up a 3, and it goes. And they're going to check. One of the officials, Bill Covington, signaling that at the next timeout, they will have a look at that shot to see if it was indeed a 3 or should it be downgraded to a 2.
Well, if it was a 3, it's only his 6th of the season. The 5th that Jaquan Newton hit was the one he hit to win the game at North Carolina, and that is a 3.
Yeah, so he's hit 6 on the season, and one of them was a 38-foot heave. Not your typical 3-point attempt for a guy who can really score. Berry at the line now for Carolina. Buell back in for Miami, and Kenny Williams returns for the Tar Heels.
Berry's just about automatic from the free throw line, although he did miss a couple late in the game against Miami in the last game these 2 teams played at the Smith Center. I remember when he missed those, it was almost shocking. Any misses tonight from anyone would not be shocking. This has been it's like one of these old Big East rock fights.
Yep. It has been a struggle at the offensive end for both teams tonight. Buell is fouled on the drive, especially in stark contrast to the game last week where it was 91-88. Well, there's some evidence of a rock fight here tonight on the right arm of Luke May. Miami comes into this game, and it comes into this tournament having won at least 1 game in the ACC tournament 8 consecutive years. That's a pretty impressive streak. Now this is their opening game here in the tournament this year because they got the double bye. They're the 3 seed, so Jim Larrañaga would love to see that streak continue, but he's really built this into a steady, consistent program over his time. This is his 7th year at Miami, and in all 7 years, Jay, the Hurricanes' final position in the ACC standings has been ahead of their preseason poll. Now it's just a poll, it's just a prediction, but in that sense they have exceeded expectations in every year that Larrañaga's been there.
Well, Larrañaga is an excellent coach. And finally, North Carolina off the dribble penetration along the baseline by Theo Pinson, able to get a rhythm jumper and able to get it to go down. Now the question is, can Miami answer?
Carolina fans, the loudest they've been all night.
Well, good job by Joel Berry not to let Chris Likes get the ball back off that handoff.
Newton knocks down a jumper to make it a 3-point game.
Well, if you can, you have to limit the dribble penetration of this Miami team. Good pass.
That's Cam Johnson back into the game, so he's feeling better. And another bucket for Brooks.
Just a little wing ball screen and a beautiful pocket pass by Cameron Johnson to the rolling Garrison Brooks. Boy, Brooks has done a good job in this game.
Really has. Win or lose tonight, Roy Williams has to be most relieved with just seeing that Barry and Johnson are okay after their injuries.
No question.
Good defense there by Johnson. Newton got it back.
And he got fouled.
Yeah.
How did they not call that? What a terrible pass. My goodness.
And a foul on Kenny Williams on the layup attempt by Newton.
Well, it's about time they saw one of these. Here's the little wing ball screen. Basically slips it. A little late coming over from the weak side, but that's just a beautiful pocket pass to split the two defenders, and a nice catch and finish by the freshman from Alabama, Garrison Brooks.
So Newton now to the line for a couple for Miami. Jim Larrañaga talked about Newton. He's a senior, and at times this year it's been a struggle for him. Has not been a consistent starter this year, but he said all of a sudden a couple of weeks ago it was like Newton came in a different guy. Change of heart, smiling and more upbeat. His play has reflected that recently, and maybe that's just as a senior, you know, your time is nearing an end. Let's go to Allison for more.
Well, guys, I talked to Newton about just that, and he said that he was really frustrated with the way he was struggling. He admitted his attitude. It just was not right. Coach Larrañaga started having him come off the bench because of it. He realized he had to improve his attitude before his scoring.
Well, his scoring's doing pretty well right now. Tough layup for Newton, so the attitude obviously coming along in stride with that. And now finally, Jay, really for the first time all night, we're seeing some consistent shot making at both ends. Barry fouled before the shot, and we get a timeout on the floor. 7:47 to go. Somebody's going to the semis to take on Duke. All right, Kevin, thank you. Back here in Brooklyn, Jaquan Newton has scored the last 9 points for Miami, including that jumper that they originally looked at and scored a 2. They looked at it during the break, changed it to a 3, so put another point on the board. Hurricanes now down by 3. Here's Allison.
Coach Larrañaga telling his guys they have to attack on offense and be more disruptive on the defensive end and get some defensive rebounds. And he reminded them, this is what we came for. Let's show everyone in the arena, everyone watching at home, how we can play.
Remember, he said to Allison at the end of the first half how uncharacteristically they were playing without the poise that he expects from them. And there's Theo Pinson, a guy who hardly made a 3 at all until a couple of weeks ago. Last couple of weeks he's really been knocking them down, but that was kind of a contested 3 for a guy who's not known as a sharpshooter.
He's hit 6 of his last 10 from 3. And in his last 7 games, he's averaging about 16 points, shooting 58% from the field. Theo Pinson has been outstanding over his last 7 or 8 games.
Amazing, a guy who was 5 for 35 from 3, being 6 of 10 since.
Well, he actually shot the ball fairly well. I mean, he's not a great shooter, but he shot the ball fairly well last season. He just got off to a really poor start this year. Good angle off the pass. Boy, Luke May has not finished anything near the basket in this game.
1 for 14 for May.
I mean, he is about as off can be. And for a guy who's been extraordinarily consistent, but Jaquan Newton right there trying to take away the drive, didn't have a hand up, and a very confident Theo Pinson just rises up and shoots it over him. He's an excellent free throw shooter. He's got a good stroke, but he just got off such a poor start, and it built on itself. And he's worked on his shot. but it's nice to see him having some success shooting it of late, because it's really opened some things up for him. He's an excellent driver, obviously, with his ability to pass it.
Carolina stretching out this lead. It's now up to 8. Down 14 to start the game, up 1 at the half, and up 8 right now.
And in a game where nothing has gone well for North Carolina, to be able to, great drive by Anthony Lawrence. Call him AMP. And just if they can lift North Carolina up a bit, that's going to give them opportunities to drive. And I think they can have some real success, Miami can, and that when they go into that 2-3 set that they use, they run a set called Chin. And I think that would give them a lot easier driving lanes and get some wing ball screen stuff going.
Missed free throw.
Well, really now for North Carolina, really for both teams, coming down the stretch in regulation, it's about getting the shot that you want.
Toughness and discipline at the offensive end.
Yes.
Pinson driving on Vasiljevic. Look at that. Old school right there from Theo Pinson.
Got the switch. Theo Pinson in the middle of the floor. He knew that he could drive right by Vasiljevic.
Jim Larinaga wants a timeout.
Theo Pinson approaching yet another double-double for North Carolina. 14 points, 9 rebounds, a terrific crossover, getting all the way to the rim and kissing it off the glass.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by New York Life. We know that life doesn't fit into any one plan, so start a plan that flexes with yours.
North Carolina down 14-0 to start the game. Has finally heated up here in the second half. Joel Berry with a corner three. Theo Pinson knocking down a three. He's got a double-double tonight. How about this move?
Well, got the matchup that he wanted, and Theo Pinson has been at his best in this game when attacking the rim.
Sports Center after this game tonight. What Michael Porter's return means for Missouri going ahead. Mr. Billis will give us some thoughts on today's key games and reaction from Serena Williams after her return.
They still need to move up that middle item to the top.
Somebody will pay for that. Walker baseline. Beautifully done.
And just the ball reversal. When the ball goes from one side to the other, makes the defense shift. Then Miami can really attack. And now they're 2 possessions down. But North Carolina in the second half has been much better on the offensive end. They're 12 of 26 in the second half, just under 50%.
Pinson off to Berry. He draws a crowd. Got Lawrence on him now. 3 over him. And out of bounds to Miami. An empty possession for the Tar Heels.
Just a really poor decision on the part of Joel Berry, when he usually doesn't make bad decisions. But if you get that kind of switch where you've got Anthony Lawrence on you, drive it. There's no sense shooting over a guy's 6'7" long arms. Drive him. And especially when Joel Berry has not been shooting the ball well at all from the perimeter. That makes him 1 of 6 now from 3-point range.
Newton up top with Pinson on him.
North Carolina needs to keep Miami out of the lane.
Izundu out to Newton, who buries the 3.
And for a guy that has really struggled shooting the ball from 3 on the season, Jaquan Newton looks awfully confident.
2 for 2 tonight from beyond the arc and a team high 17 points. 3-point game, 4.5 to go. The winner takes on Duke tomorrow night in a semifinal.
Duke May held that ball screen so long without rolling.
How about Theo Pinson? Give him 19 points on the night.
Jaquan Newton and Theo Pinson It's like they're in the NBA three-point shooting contest. Like, who would have thought coming into this game?
Lawrence driving on Johnson. A force. Izundu went right over May to get the rebound, but then was called for a foul on the second try.
I don't know what he did wrong there other than rebounding. That was not an over the back. That was just rebounding. Just because you go over somebody doesn't mean you've gone over their back.
Number 4 on Izundu, and he's looking up. You can see him looking up to the video monitors on the scoreboard above midcourt, trying to see what he's been accused of. Inside 4 minutes. May. And Pinson called for the foul.
Well, Jaquan Newton, 2 of 2 from three-point range. He had only hit 5 coming into this ball game, and getting the ball from Izundu and knocking it down, and Theo Pinson not to be outdone. 19 and 10 for Pinson, knocking it down from the corner.
Not much of a choice, but we're doing the best we can with what we got. 6-point lead, Carolina over Miami. Here's the over the back call on Izundu. It's not on this one. It's on that one.
And neither one of those was a foul. And it's remarkable. I mean, you can't even rebound in this game. It's crazy. And that was just a rebound. There was nothing to that.
Anthony Lawrence at the line for Miami, knocks down the front end of the 1-and-1.
Anthony Lawrence has had a nice game. Hasn't had a lot of shot attempts, and I think he can actually be much more aggressive on the offensive end. But double figures in the ball games at 6 rebounds, done a good job defensively, blocked a couple shots. I don't think I've ever seen this year Luke May struggle like he struggled in this game. 1 of 15 for May.
This is one of the 15 finalists for the Wooden Award. Not saying he's going to win it, but whoa! Theo Pinson putting on a show.
That is taking advantage of really poor defense. Nobody protecting the rim for Miami. I mean, Theo Pinson took that right down Main Street and dunked all over Miami, and nobody stepped in to stop it. Nobody stops the ball. Everybody just gets out of the way. And Pinson knew it. He was staring right at Lonnie Walker and just dared him to come stop it. And Theo Pinson now, that's 22 points, 10 rebounds, 3 steals, and a SportsCenter top 10 dunk.
Boy, Walker was in position to at least challenge it. Probably would have fouled him, but was in position to at least prevent a dunk.
Well, he could have tried to take a charge. There were a number of things he could have done, but you know, just a freshman, he basically just got out of the way. And that is Hubert Davis's son Elijah. And he loved that one.
Theo Pinson, 22 points, 10 rebounds, 3 steals tonight. A guy who has been just a whole lot of fun to watch play basketball the last 4 years.
And playing his best basketball in the last 8 games of the regular season. I mean, the last 7, 16 points a game, 6.5 rebounds, 6 assists, shooting over 50% from 3 and close to 60% from the field.
Allison can add.
Guys, he now has his 6th double-double in the last 14 games, which is impressive in its own. But how about the fact he had just 1 in his previous 104 games? So he has really elevated his game. And he said he is just trying to be aggressive. He's always had that confidence. But he said with his teammates' encouragement to score the past month, he's really just found a good rhythm.
And one of the reasons, Allison, that's a great point. One of the reasons he's had the ball in his hands more. He's playing more point guard, really. He's probably playing more point guard than Joel Berry is. Like right now, he's got the ball out front being guarded by Anthony Lawrence. And what a luxury it is to be able to put the ball in the hands essentially of your 4-man, and he operates as a point guard.
Rejected by Lawrence, and here comes Likes. Off to Newton. Offensive foul.
Well, yet another charge for Kenny Williams. Give him credit. I don't think he got there. But what a gutsy play See, I think he slid underneath. I don't think that's a charge. I mean, I think the referee screwed that up, but that's a long list in this game of things. He's not there, and that's just not a good call. It's just not. It's a great job. You know, it's a great job to get the call, but it's a really bad call.
Carolina takes over with 2:36 to go. Pinson, nice look ahead to Williams. And Carolina stretches the lead to 8.
Well, and you wonder, after getting a charge on the other end, why Jaquan Newton didn't try to draw one on his end. I mean, they just let North Carolina get all the way to the basket.
Huell misses the jam. And Pinson just beats Newton to the floor for the ball.
Carolina's out-toughing Miami, just out-toughing them.
Theo Pinson got it started by hitting the deck, coming up with the loose ball, and it winds up in a bucket at the other end.
Well, really, I think Kenny Williams started it by putting his body on the line. Even though I don't think it was a good call, he put his body on the line to draw that charge, and then they go down the other end, get a layup. All of a sudden, they get a loose ball, and right now, I mean, it is a double-digit deficit because of hustle plays on the part of North Carolina. What a great play by Theo Pinson. And it turns into a basket on the other end just because of his hustle. First to the floor, and you get a layup out of it.
North Carolina inching closer to a spot in the semifinals, and that would mean their 3rd meeting of the season with their arch rivals from Durham. Duke advanced with an 18-point win over Notre Dame earlier tonight. And this afternoon, it was Virginia and Clemson moving on to the semis. We've talked a lot about Theo Pinson. He can be a really good player even if he doesn't score. When he does score, he can be a great college player.
Well, he's so versatile. He's got a great motor, an excellent rebounder for his size, and a guy that has been ultra aggressive. He's a playmaker. He makes plays not only for himself but for others. The best passer on this Carolina team, leads the team in assists. Every once in a while he'll have a turnover that makes Roy Williams want to tear his jacket in half. But he also does things like that, and being the first to the floor. I mean, he has definitely been in this one the player of the game, and you can pick probably a number of games over the last 8 where Theo Pinson would be the player of the game. And I think you saw him 94 feet not too long ago. Theo Pinson, he's the best coach on this team. He's the best player on this team. He's the best looking on this team. And the most humble.
We hope he goes on to a professional career somewhere. But if he wants to get into broadcasting when he's done, he'll do that in a heartbeat.
Yeah, he'd be a great play-by-play guy, and I would certainly love to have him sit next to me.
Funny, I had a different thought.
I could see you giving my job away.
Pinson is fouled. He's got 22 points tonight, 1 shy of his career high. Boy, how things have changed. Earlier tonight, Carolina was trailing. Barry went down with an injury. Johnson went down with an injury. They both came back into the game when it didn't look like they would. Now they've gotten hot. They're stretching it out.
And one of the things I've always loved about Theo Pinson is he plays the game. There's a joy about the way he plays, and not just in the games, but the way he goes about practice. And he's always got a smile on his face. He's up all the time, and it reminds me of what a former baseball coach of mine used to say. He said, "Having fun is doing hard things well." And Theo Pinson has fun every single game, every single practice.
Kenny Williams called for the block. At this moment, or at least coming into action earlier today, I'm not sure if Joey Brackett's how recently he has updated things, but earlier today he had Carolina as a 2 seed and Miami as a 6 seed. Walker misses the front end, and Williams comes up. Another 50-50 ball that the Tar Heels get to.
Yeah, Wardenberg going after the ball, and he just got beat to it because Kenny Williams wanted it more. That's all there is to that. Now Carolina can just burn clock here. They really don't even have to take another shot, and they'll win the game.
Barry lost the handle, 5 to shoot. Williams no. And Luke May, that's one of his specialties, tipping it to himself to come up with the offensive rebound.
Well, it didn't look good the first 7 minutes of the ball game. It didn't look good for North Carolina, but they really fought through what has been a really difficult game to deal with. And Miami, they got to feel like they let one get away here, but all credit to North Carolina for just hanging in there.
So give me your thoughts on Duke Carolina round 3.
Well, North Carolina's going to have to play a lot better than they did in this one, and you have to expect that they will. And I don't think they'll be taking anything for granted against a Duke team that is playing at a very high level. I mean, Duke right now, it strikes you as being similar to the team they had in 2015. I don't think they're quite as good because they're not as old in spots. But defensively, Duke has come a long way in the last 3-4 weeks. A long way.
Grayson Allen's making shots, and if you didn't see it earlier, Marvin Bagley III had an extraordinary game against Notre Dame. 33 points and 17 rebounds. Meanwhile, in this one, if you go back to the opening minutes of the game, as Jay alluded to just a moment ago, it was ugly. It was 14-0 Miami, and Roy Williams said, okay, you 5, get those 5 out of the game. He pulled all 5 starters a few minutes into the game. Now he's making 5 substitutions as well, but this is a whole different situation. And Pinson and the other guys deserve credit for not giving up when they were down 14-0 and for somehow scratching and clawing their way back into this game.
Well, North Carolina, there's no give up in this group, but the lion's share of the credit you have to give to Theo Pinson for the job that he did on both ends of the floor, because it was not looking good early for North Carolina. And who would have thought down 14-0 they'd have a double-digit win in this?
Brandon Huffman with a jump hook. Starters love it. Nothing starters love more than seeing the guys who rarely get a chance to play making a shot.
And tomorrow night, Duke Carolina 3.
Aaron Rollman will lay it in, and that'll really get the bench going. He's got a chance for a 3-point play. The senior from Gastonia, North Carolina.
If only Aaron Rollman would get into the weight room a little more. That is one. And isn't it great to see the regulars really happy for the guys that work so hard in practice, sort of the walk-ons and the bench players. But how about we're going to get Duke Carolina 3 tomorrow night, and it's on the anniversary of Ali Frazier. How about that? It's like it's been 45, 46 years since Ali Frazier.
Well, it will be 2 heavyweights colliding here in Brooklyn tomorrow night. Virginia and Clemson in the other semifinal. Boy, what a disappointing night for the Miami Hurricanes. But North Carolina comes back from 14 down to start the game and wins going away 82-65 over Miami, setting up the 3rd game of the season with the Duke Blue Devils, and we look forward to seeing it tomorrow night. It'll be the 2nd game here tomorrow night. 1st game on ESPN2. The #1 team in the nation, the Virginia Cavaliers, taking on the Clemson Tigers, and then the 2nd semifinal here on ESPN, North Carolina and Duke, for a right to move on to the final here at the Barclays Center. Theo Pinson had another great night for North Carolina, a career high 25 points. He adds 11 rebounds, his 6th double-double in his last 14 games. He really was the star of stars for the Tar Heels tonight, leading them back. And he's with Allison Williams.
Theo, we're making this a nightly conversation here. But with the way things started for the Tar Heels, did you think that coach might be trying to split another suit jacket? Did you think that coach might be trying to split another suit jacket with the way things started?
Yeah, I thought he was going to lose that one. That's a nice jacket, though. He don't need to split that one.
What did allow you guys to get the comeback and end up with the double-digit win?
Our bench came in, got us quick 5 points. We just started 5, just had to settle down. That's all it was. They came in and gave us some great minutes, so I give all the credit to them. They got us going.
You certainly made your contributions as well, though. How would you describe the rhythm you're in lately shooting?
Yeah, I'm feeling good. Feeling real good. I just want to step up for my teammates, and I'm not going to lie. I remember they stole my senior night.
I'm sure that was in the back of your mind for sure. Another loss that was recently was to Duke, and you'll get to face them tomorrow. How do you feel about a chance to take the season series with the Blue Devils?
It's going to be a fun game. I mean, we're competitors on this team, and we're going to get ready to get back to the hotel and rest and get in my beautiful bed.
Theo, thank you. Sleep well.
Having fun as always. Theo Pinson having fun on and off the court, and he will lead the Tar Heels against the Blue Devils tomorrow night in a semifinal matchup here for the ACC tournament in Brooklyn. For Jay Billis, Allison Williams, I'm Dan Schulman. Thanks for watching. We'll see you tomorrow night. Sports Center coming up right now with SVP.